Okay, welcome back to another episode of Carl's Scale Model Showcase. On the viewing table today, I have what is the start of the Wilson Cataliner. I like to call it the Cataliner. That I'm going to hook up to the blue and white K100 flat top that was aired a couple of videos ago. But anyways, I know I've mentioned this before. What we're doing here is what I'm doing is I'm going to take two of these kits, which I've already started, and I am going to make a more modern 53 foot scale, 53 foot triaxle or Tridem Cataliner, bull hauler, whatever people prefer to call it. It's not a very difficult conversion to do, and I just want to say that I had a couple of comments in regards to if I could, if I was thinking about maybe doing some as we go work, showing my work as I go along, and I'm definitely not opposed to that. For me right now, it's just a matter of timing and making it all kind of work together, and the biggest thing is remembering to maybe get the camera and just kind of focus on the work table and let it go, and maybe do some time-lapse stuff. But we've got a lot of models to build. I do have a showcase video coming of all the kits that I have just waiting to go, and I hope to get to all of them at some point. So there's quite a few. That video is coming, and it shows kind of where I display my models and stuff, where I display my models in my office. I'm gonna have to put up some more shelving and whatnot, and then start cranking out some more trucks here. So, and let me just say that I am a huge car lover. I just love muscle cars. I own two, and I have another channel which I'm going to throw the card in here again. Yeah, so that channel is Cat Performance Group, Cat Performance with a K, and that's going to kind of start showing off my real car hobby as well. So, but I want to keep them separate from the modeling channel. So anyway, on that note, let's get going on the Cataliner here. So this trailer, obviously, it's been around forever. I can't thank Round 2 enough for bringing back all the really cool stuff, and the quality of the plastic and the molding and everything is just excellent. You know, I hope that people are showing their kids and their grandkids that this is a super cool hobby. And models don't need to be perfect. Models don't need to, you know, the more mistakes, the better, because that's how you learn to get better. But just keep the hobby alive. And, you know, that's what really makes me happy about this hobby. I'm 53 years old, and I've been doing this hobby since I was about 6 or 7. So anyways, we'll get into this. So I'm just going to grab the box, and I'm going to flip it over like this and try and make sure I'm still staying in the camera here. Okay, so your standard stuff here inside. I'm not going to really go through it too much, but what I will do is I'll just leave the camera going, and I'm going to pull out, I'm not going to show that yet, that's coming, and I'm just going to show, okay, let's go with the other side here. Oh no, it's not going to matter because I did one side already. So here we go. This is a, let's see, can we see this? Let's go like this. Okay, so there's basically the one side. There we go. One side in a 40-foot in a scale 40-foot length tandem axle, just like the offering is out of the box. Okay, so what I am doing is I'm just going to move this back a little bit now. I'm going to lay that down like that. We can still see everything in the camera. And like I always say, bear with me. I'm trying to get better with the camera stuff. Now, ta-da! Here comes the big girl. All right. So this is, so I'm just going to pick it up now. Look at what we got here. Okay, so this is a huge difference coming up. Now, I haven't even trimmed some of this off. You know, we're working on it. But as you can see, really the only difference between the front end and the back end is this little apron is a little bit longer where the kingpin is, where the tractor goes, and this it's very minor, but if you look, you can see this apron is a little bit shorter, or skirt, or whatever you want to call it. So obviously this is the rear of the trailer. There's the hinges. So if we were to flip it over and just say, okay, this is what the 40-foot version would look like. Right, now we can see the difference. Right, so there's the 53 coming. And, you know, it's not something that you can splice just down the center. You can't do that and then just join them together, because you gotta make room. You gotta make room for the tri. You gotta make room for the 3 axles versus the 2. So we've got this large opening here, and I'm just gonna flip this back over and go like that. So we can see this difference again. So in order to make all this look correct, mine actually has 4 cuts in it, and I'm not going to show you where they are. I'm just going to tell you that the only way to do it correctly is you got to dissect this thing and just make it so all the bracing stays the same way, and same with the back, and then the lead where the tractor goes never really gets touched. And like I said, we've only got so far on this side so far, right? So what I did do in order to get the right, there's gonna be a lot of work goes into this. Now let me back up for a second. Pardon me. When I said you got to do it this way, that's me. So that's how I did it. You can do it any way you want. If you want to do something like this, you can do it whatever way you want. If anybody judges you, well, I guess that's their problem. But I mean, this hobby is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun doing this, if you're getting frustrated, if you're worried about mistakes or anything like that, then maybe just take a break from it or whatever, because no matter what your end result is, it's cool. You created it. This is so important. I can't stress enough that you're the creator. So let me try and, here, I'm going to, it's not much of a, let's see here. Let me go like this. Okay, so just hold that position for a second. I'm going to try and dig out the apron if I can find it. Okay, so I found the apron. I'm just gonna put it down right there. Here, let's do a close-up of it. There's the apron right there. Okay, now this I cut right out of there, and people might wonder why'd you cut that out, right? This is the same apron in reverse that would be on this side, right? And that L shape there, if you can see, that's for the floor to tie into and whatnot. And that nasty band-aid, that was actually from working on my rail car today. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that in there. So why would he cut the apron out? Okay, let's take a look here then. And I'll try and get the camera. Give me a second here. There we go. Now we can just kind of focus this here, and I'll start explaining what's going on. Now, here's the jewel that we need. So I'm just gonna move this out of the way for now. Okay, let's do that. All right. So there we go. There is a Tridem axle spring suspension. The cattle wouldn't be too happy about that, or whatever livestock you're hauling. Everything runs on bags nowadays, thank goodness. But we just, you know, I'm not going to go out and buy a whole bunch of aftermarket stuff to make a bag suspension. I just take the two Wilson trailer suspensions, carefully measure, cut everything down. You got to tie one set of springs in to the other because they eventually end on the tandem, and the tie-in was over here. I don't really want to get into a lot of detail. You can't see it, and that's the whole idea. The thing about it is to make sure that you measure, before you cut anything, measure the axle spacing on the actual tandem, the part that comes from the kit. Make sure you got a measurement of the axle spacing, and all you got to do is make sure your third axle is the exact same spacing. That way, when you put all your axles in, get your wheels on, your wheels and everything are going to look uniform. But when you look at it, and I take the apron out, if I left the apron in there, okay, and I tried to put the wheels in there, it's not, hang on, here we go, sorry. If I left the apron in there and I tried to put the wheels in there, what's going to happen? This wheel's going to end up right at the back tail lights and behind the doors. It's just going to look ridiculous, right? So what I've done is cut the apron out, and I don't plan on leaving this in a 90, although I've looked at some modern day cattle liners, and that's how it is there. It's just a 90-degree cut right there. So if I throw the Tridem in there now, and I've measured this with the wheels, I'll just grab some tires out. See here, 1, 2, 3. All right, so I've measured some tires out for center to center, and the spacing's going to be right because the grouping between 1 and 2 was good. So just make it the same for the third one. So there's what your grouping is going to look like. 3, right? So I take the Tridem out of there, and I'm just going to eyeball it kind of. And I want this one to be kind of right at the back, and I want this one, it's about 1/4 of an inch next to this one, like this. And then I want this one like this, right? So now the reason I cut the apron is because I'm going to trim it down. And then see underneath there, you can see where the trailer is. Now I am going to adjust until it looks right. And that's all I ever go off of. I measure a lot for sure, but I just want to make sure that it actually looks right. So when I get the Tridem in, when I get the suspension in, I already know what the wheel measurements are. I'll run one axle, I'll mock it up with the lead wheels, the lead set of wheels, and then I will mock up the apron or the skirt, and then I will cut it. I will fit it into the trailer, and then, and only then, I will take the other side and convert it exactly how I've done this side. And this one's pretty easy to do. This one's going to be easy, in my opinion, to do, because look at all. That's what I mean. If you keep the beams, the bracing, whatever, the structure, if you keep it uniform, it's easy to get everything kind of lined up. Once you do that, make sure your lengths are the same. Then I'll just cut the roof. I'll cut the roof to match. I'll hide the seam. The floor is going to be easy to tie together. You're going to have to extend the back part where the Tridem is, and where it hooks onto the trailer is basically going to be about the same. And then once again, like I said, with the triaxle suspension in there, it's going to look pretty decent, in my opinion. So, and that's why this box is loaded with a whole bunch of floor parts, both roof parts and whatnot. Okay, so here's something I wanted to ask you guys. Now, these decals have come a long way from what we used to get when we were kids building these, or back in the day. So, you know, you got the awesome mud flap decals and stuff. You got the, you know, you got the window to run up front, the Longhorns, the Wilson Trailer Company, or Cattle Bus, or Bixby. But I like the, let's see here, there, we get, try to get some sunlight in here, Jesus. Bixby Livestock, Leon, Iowa. Now I was thinking to run those placards on the K100, and then seeing as I got two sets of decals, I run them on the back of the doors on the Cataliner as well, and just to give it some homage or whatever to something. And I'm just wondering what you guys think of that. I could always get some custom decals built, but I don't know. I think the Bixby would look okay, and they would go on the blue part of the door of the K100. So I think the darker background with the gold or yellow, I think it would look all right. So, but anyways, there's another. It's just a bit of an update. We're working on this one. We're trying to get it done. It's not a very difficult build. It's just tedious, and once everything's lined up, then everything else goes together pretty good. So yeah, and once we get her done, we'll hook up with the Kenworth, and she'll be pretty neat. So I've already got a shelf ready to go for it. It's going to be fairly long, so, but anyways, as always, I appreciate all the likes, all the compliments, all the subscribers and the viewers. I really appreciate your time, and keep on building those models.